Deirdre Bosa looks at the global race to rule AI in today's Tech Check. Deirdre?
Hey, Kelly. So here's the bottom line. China's out. The Middle East is in terms of chip diplomacy, which is only gaining greater significance in this sort of geopolitical environment. And so this week, it could open the door to multi-billion-dollar deals in a region that is very eager to replace Beijing as the next big buyer. Among the names expected in the Gulf this week, Elon Musk, Jensen Huang, Ruth Porat, Alex Karp. They're on the agenda for the Saudi-U.S. investment forum in Riyadh. Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg, they're also reportedly going. Now, for Gulf nations, this is a chance to secure the chips and the partnerships needed to get into the AI power race for U.S. tech and the Trump administration. It's access to sovereign wealth, cheap energy, and potentially a new front in the AI trade. But access does come with a price. The Biden administration had warned that loosening controls could shift AI infrastructure and influence outside U.S. allies. They were wary of autocratic regimes with ties to China, and they were worried that U.S. chips could end up strengthening Beijing indirectly. So, Kelly, if those guardrails are going to come down, which people close to the Trump administration, like AI czar David Sachs, they're now arguing for, there could be a trade-off here. Short-term deals in exchange for longer-term strategic risk and things like the AI diffusion rule, which we've talked a lot about. They're at stake here and could sort of represent a new order with, again, chips as the bargaining chip, as the leverage.
Not to be dense, but elaborate on the AI diffusion rule again for a moment. And I'm very curious. I mean, what kinds of announcements then could we expect or might we get in the wake of these meetings?
So the AI diffusion rule is a Biden-era rule that said there was basically 3 tiers of countries who can or cannot buy U.S.-made AI chips, advanced chips. So you have our friends, then you have our enemies,
right,
or people that we don't want to sell to, like China, and then someone in the middle, like many Middle Eastern companies that we want to be careful with or limit how many they can sell because they have ties to China or some of the countries that are not exactly on the ally side. So that was taken away. We know that the Trump administration is not going to go ahead with that. We don't know what replaces it, but there had been a lot of discussion that it would be on a country-by-country basis, which would certainly track with what we could see this week, right? We could see these country-by-country rules, you know, the UAE or Saudi Arabia buying X billion dollars worth of AI chips. And that would be sort of something that would replace that previous diffusion rule. And again, in chip diplomacy, right? This is so important because you need chips to lead in AI, to build out the infrastructure. Middle East has plenty of power. With chips, they could really, you know, gain an advantage in this sort of global race.
And yet I'm sure they're trying to kind of strike this balance of, okay, well, where are those chips? What is the end goal? Who, you know, Dubai, for instance, which sees itself as like the Switzerland, right? It's neutral with its partnerships with all other nations. If we open up to Dubai, is it effectively opening up to China and so on and so forth?
Exactly. And that's what the Biden administration was worried about. But we know from the first Trump administration, too, that there is a cozier relationship with the Middle East.
All right. Deirdre, for now, thanks. Appreciate it. Deirdre Bosa.